So I'm not sure if it's just me, but it feels like luxury is dead these days. It's shocking coming from somebody like me who is a self-professed luxury creator. Luxury and lifestyle is kind of my tagline. But I can't help but feel in the changing tides of time that we are seeing today that it feels as though luxury is on its way out, and perhaps even luxury doesn't even feel luxury anymore for a lot of people. That general theme and topic is what I wanted to talk about quickly today. I'm seeing so many articles, I'm sure that you have seen them as well, around, the Dior ethics and production scandal. They're not the only ones. We've seen so many other brands that I think people are a little bit fed up. And so I guess let's just start off by talking about, in a little bit more depth anyway, some of the symptoms of the fact that luxury is dead. So previously, what I would have considered a definition of luxury, and I've covered these in more scientific and psychological aspects in other videos, but it is something that the general population cannot get a hold of. They are things that are outside of your necessity, but it's also either priced or restricted in access or extreme status symbol to therefore qualify it as something that transcends the actual intrinsic value of that item to be something that has intangible benefits as well. And luxury is not just necessarily even about that specific item that you've gotten. There's also the experience. I would argue that is just as important, if not more important, than the actual item itself. It is something that takes you out of your kind of monotony of day to day. It is an occasion in itself, a special event. Obviously, the quantifiable amount in terms of the price as well as the accessibility, the reach, will differ time to time, but that is the kind of classical, broad definition anyway. That I feel has since shifted in the last 5 or so years. A few things come to mind. So number one, the economic situation. I mean, I don't think this is something that is just seen in the West, at least of all the UK, which right now is a bit of an S show, if I am being brutally honest. Shocking given the amount of tax I'm paying, but never you mind that. Cost of living and inflation, all of those things in the economic climate has made things very, very difficult, especially those that are in the kind of lower middle class who are aspiring to the luxury realm, and they've basically almost been outpriced. I am somebody who is, I guess, included in so far as I can't buy Chanel, Louis Vuitton or whatnot as frequently as perhaps I used to, which honestly is probably a good thing because I have enough. Obviously you could, specifically pinpoint turning points like the COVID pandemic, like you have the Russia-Ukraine war, many other conflicts. In relation to this also, I think there has been a politicization of luxury. I feel like because of the widening wealth gap that you're seeing in terms of economics, you are also seeing a narrative that luxury is an evil and that anyone who owns luxury is bigoted or up themselves or too gaudy. There is a very heavy sentiment therefore of trying to punish or shame, or in very bad extreme cases, to steal or hurt individuals. And you're seeing that in particular in the West, especially in London. So many articles, people having their luxury bags stolen or their houses robbed, being stalked online. I think there is a fear now of wearing luxury, having luxury out. People are having to use all kinds of creative ways to wear their items, hold their items, keeping them safe, because there are so many pickpockets and thieves. And so people do not want to pay the price tags for an item that's going to cause them more hassle than it's worth. And then another reason which I think is contributing to the fact that luxury seems dead or is dead is that it is quite boring and it lacks innovation, and that is embodied in the copycat collections we are seeing. All the fashion houses are completely unrecognizable from when they had their heydays, decades ago, especially from brands that are more considered to be trying to be avant-garde, edgy, or just plain stupid, like the Balenciaga of the world. And even now Valentino, with Alessandro Michele's influence, has just turned into another Gucci knockoff brand, right? People are fatigued, people are bored, people are finding inspiration, therefore, from the past than from the future. I am starting to look for special, one-of-a-kind, limited edition pieces, and those aren't really in today's collections. They are perhaps from looking into archives in the past. And I know I'm somebody that said that I would never buy pre-loved or vintage, but I feel like that is an avenue that I would potentially look into if the items were basically pristine or unworn, because I'm not finding that much inspiration in today's collection. And even AI, which is the latest trend, is being more inspiring than some of the collections that we have seen from brands, big fashion houses, you know, cue the likes of the Nike Tiffany collab. If a computer, a non-sentient piece of software code, can do a better job than some fashion houses, I think we have a problem on our hands. Relating to that factor as well, people are also noting a quality decrease when there is price increases for a lot of items. Obviously, Chanel is one of the biggest that comes to mind with their many, many headlines, but people would be okay with price increases if the quality was up to scratch. It's not a problem that is just siloed and unique to Chanel. This is happening across the board. A prime example of this is the Dior scandal that had broke out, where they were alleged to have outsourced a lot of their production to basically Chinese workers that are basically in the modern slave trade. They were sleeping on the job, essentially. There were beds laid out on the factory floors. There were videos going around of what the situation was and the price gouging that's going on, because they're pricing a bag that's maybe like $5,000 for something that's actually made for like less than $50. Because I had no idea that brands can make you that much of a markup. I mean, I expected a profit, but not that much. There will be variations, especially if the materials and craftsmanship are higher, but it blows all of those kind of promo videos out of the water where people are making them in wonderful conditions. And I think people are really waking up to that cognitive dissonance of paying luxury and expecting luxury and then actually getting Temu or Shein quality, or at least the working conditions are of that nature. And look, I am by no means saying that this is new information. There, of course, will have been brands that have engaged in this practice for a long time, but I often imagined, and you know, a lot of brands do put their money where their mouth is, you know, by having, you know, small batches with artisans that are local, that are paid a fair wage, etc. But obviously there are some that are cutting corners as of late because of, you know, the remnants of COVID and inflation and whatnot. I can't help but feel that the frequency of these exposés coming out now, and the fact that a lot more companies are outsourcing and not being hands-on, is something that consumers are not standing up for. And so I'm not surprised as a result that people are like, do you know what? I'm not buying luxury, I'm buying mid-tier, or I'm buying lower tier but higher quality. I'm definitely looking into other brands. You know, I've recently just bought myself a Monar bag, and it's from a French fashion house, lesser known, but definitely a lot more artisanal. And I think a lot of people are following suit into that direction, or they're going to go vintage, pre-loved, or they're just going to go without brands at all. And I would also say there is a general sentiment that luxury is super oversaturated. Basic bags or luxury starter kits like Hermes Birkin or Kelly or Chanel Classic Flap, you know, they might seem basic. Let's be honest, Hermes Birkin bags, Kelly's and Chanel Classic Flaps are anything but basic in their price tag. It just looks that way because, you know, the content that we follow, the creators that we see will have those bags, and it just seems like everybody has them. It feels as though they are super saturated, and when you see something an awful lot, it tends to not feel special anymore, especially when you consider the fact that there are private and corporate sellers that will give you access to these very rare and hard to find bags. So it kind of goes against the marketing, and so as a result, so many people are gravitating away from luxury. It's fatiguing, it's boring, it's dull. Everybody has the items, and people want to ultimately feel special. They want to feel like they have something that no one else has. I think it is made so much worse by the burgeoning fakes industry. The counterfeits these days are actually more compelling and probably better made than some actual authentic items. Often the designs of some of the counterfeits are more creative and innovative than the actual items of fashion houses themselves. And then another factor that's worth talking about is that people feel as though they are not being treated fairly. They're actually being treated very poorly despite spending such an amount of money. Those factors being said around, you know, luxury is basic, everybody has these bags, and there will always be people that want them, and those items are classic or sought after, popular for a reason. There's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. People will like what they want. I think one of the biggest reasons that is a big turn off is that people feel as though they are not getting the luxury experience that they thought that they were buying into. You know, like I mentioned before, you believe you are going to be walking into a boutique and getting the A-list treatment, and that is not happening anymore. You know, where you may have been greeted with champagne, and now it feels like you're being rushed through like cattle. Sales associates are rude, potentially arrogant if you don't give them what they want, which is, you know, sales. They will offer you things that you don't actually want or need, and there generally is just this sense that you are one of many, which obviously is always an illusion, right? That's what you're paying for. But you're paying for the illusion, you're paying for the experience, and you want to feel special. To have an experience where you are basically queuing, you are stuck with some random person who doesn't really care about you. You are often even being told that the item that you want is not in stock when it perhaps is, or it's being reserved for someone else. You're having to play mind games, other games, spending limits. Who knew that you had to do some revision and homework and research online of how to simply buy something that you have the money for? It was honestly one of the reasons why I was never really a fan of Hermes bags in particular, because the experience is not luxury. It is just honestly feeling like the brands are laughing at certain individuals, especially when they charge ludicrous prices for very simple items. Even on Hermes's website, you know, for very basic dog collar, it's like £500. Don't even get me started on joke brands that are Balenciaga or otherwise charging crazy amounts for bin bags, IKEA bags, for used looking trainers, used looking bracelets. And so as a result of all of these factors, I believe they have all met in a perfect storm, and as of recently, people are selling off their collections left, right, and center. And I honestly think there is something to be said around the more surface area that you take up, that you have, the more stress that there also is. People are reducing that surface area, they're reducing their clutter. And honestly, I'm finding that freeing up the space and the funds also allows me to spend that money on things that matter, not just the necessities in life, which people should be prioritizing. People are spending them hard-earned money on experiences and memories that will treasure for the rest of their lives. And I'm personally channeling a lot more of my funds into bucket list adventures. And frankly, it's boring if everybody is doing the same thing. There's nothing unique about you. Your personality is basically your stuff. But those are the general thoughts and feelings around why luxury is perceived to be dead in terms of the Hermes bags or Chanel, the price gouging, the poor working conditions, the games that you have to play, the lack of innovation, and the poor treatment of customers. But luxury is evolving. What people perceive to be luxury will always be relative to individuals and towards certain time periods. That's why you're seeing the reactions to this kind of gaudiness with brands like Loro Piana, Bottega Veneta. You're seeing other low-key brands like the Row creating bags that are basically logoless. I certainly see why that is a reaction. I think we all tend to overcorrect as a response to certain swings of the pendulum. And so while people think luxury fashion might be dead, people might still like luxury watches and fine jewelry and luxury experiences and things like that. And I guess now, just to pivot onto my personal thoughts, which I suppose will kind of bookend this video. Will luxury still have a place in my heart? Of course it will. Obviously, I will still love the little trinkets here and there. I'm a magpie, and that just cannot be helped. We're all different individuals on this earth, aren't we? We all have different interests, but definitely a lot more in moderation. Definitely something that I'm finding luxury to manifest, not just in fashion, but also in experiences. And I'm finding luxury travel to be more worthwhile than just luxury items. I'm certainly seeing other creators pivoting their content or pivoting their spend to reflect the new priorities that they're having in life. Everybody is entitled to and should go through those exciting phases of life. But I think at this moment in time, I'm very happy to channel those funds into memories that I can make. And of course, a lot of those memories will be made with my beautiful items. It's definitely not just about the things. And I do feel pity for those that only focus on the value of things as opposed to the values of their friendships, their relationships, their experiences, their knowledge, their education, all those aspects that I believe make you richer than any item could ever do. I also find, relating to this, that I'm not getting the same shopper's high, if you will, as I did many years ago. When luxury, or when anything, I suppose, is new to an individual, it feels very exciting and exhilarating. But I feel as I've gone on and grown my collection, it just doesn't hit the same. And I do think that serving others or making memories with others is a much better way of feeling fulfilled and feeling accomplished. I'm actually trying to downsize. I'm finding great joy from consolidating my collections, and I want to enjoy them all as equally as possible before we all inevitably leave this earth. I want to be able to have something manageable that allows freedom of movement for me, freedom of funds too. I'm really enjoying the consolidation journey that I am on. I'm enjoying pivoting towards experiences over things. I am somebody that is very multifaceted in my interests, and I think I am pivoting towards those, whether that be through the travel, like I mentioned, even cigars as well, I'm focusing a lot more on. But I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think luxury is dead? Are you still shopping luxury? But anyways, that has been enough talking. I'll leave this video right here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.